Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to join you.
Well, listen, I wish we could come and just talk about like Italian cuisine one of these days or something, or some of your decor, because it's always so nice.
You're very welcome if you want. Whenever.
I would love to do that once. But man, there's a lot of things going on here. And I just want to talk about kind of set the stage here in the last the last period of time, but certainly the last 36, 48 hours, there's been a lot of back and forth between Russia and Ukraine. Even in the last about month, there was a big strike from the Ukraine side into Starobilsk, killed a bunch of college kids. And there was a sports bus that was hit, made a lot of people in Russia really angry. And then I guess not before last, last night, I guess it was, in Kiev, Russia, who had promised to strike back hard as a result of all that stuff, made good on its promise. The Ukraine side said, okay, all you did was hit civilian targets. You didn't hit anything military. You're just a terrorist. And so that kind of is the new narrative. In fact, both the Russians and the Ukrainian side and Europeans are both accusing the other side of just being terrorists, which seems to be driving any possibility of a conflict resolution even further away. First of all, just kind of let me ask you, just kind of 30,000-foot level, how do you see the state of the war right now, and is there any end in sight?
I think what we're moving towards is a general escalation, an escalation which will be partly and mostly orchestrated by the Europeans. They've engaged in an enormous psychological operation to try and convince the world that actually Ukraine is on the front foot and Russia is on the back foot. And it's just simply not true. But it's had some effect. But and I think I've discussed that with you at the G7 and in the meeting before, it was entirely discussed how to organize a psychological operation to try and persuade Trump that actually Ukraine might win the war, and that the Europeans, by providing missiles and drones to strike deep into Russia, were unnerving the Russian population, causing problems, causing shortages of gasoline, shortages of diesel, all these things, and that there was unrest against Putin. All of this is the psychological warfare. And Putin referred to it, and he said, you know, we are now engaged in a major psychological offensive against us, and we have to respond. So what you mentioned about both sides saying that they were terrorists, I mean, largely fits in with that the Russians feel they have to respond to these, the psychological warfare by saying, the opposite, and actually Russia goes to great lengths to keep the casualty figures, the collateral damage to the minimum. I think in this last one, which was one of the heaviest missile attacks, I heard a figure of about 30 people have been casualties, which is quite small given the size of it. When you look at what happened in Iran during the bombing of Tehran, I mean, you had a casualty figure overall from that war was just about 3,000 people dead, and so we're talking about 30. Always regrettable, but you can't actually get down to no casualties and still have an operational missile attack of this nature.
So let me ask, in these images that Gary's showing right now, because this is what the Ukrainian media is showing ad nauseum, because so far all these are apartment complexes and a large-scale apartment building, houses. Is it true that Russia is hitting intentionally civilian targets?
No, it's not true at all. And some of these buildings, I don't know which, I'm not sort of on the spot, but I don't know which, but, I know that the sort of Ukrainian intelligence and others operate out of buildings, and rather, as the United States during the Gulf conflict was moving out of the military areas and housing troops and their officials in hotels in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And so those hotels were hit because they contained American special forces and others that were engaged in the conflict. So, I mean, without knowing the details, all of this is just propaganda. It'll take time to sort out, what is true and what is not true. But what is true is very clearly that there was a major attack. It was one of the most sophisticated because there were new drones, it seems, that were used during this. And the Russians are using, I think, what you call mesh technology. In other words, their AI is meshed together. So the drones are talking to each other and operating as a single unit, like a flock of birds, if you like, always communicating with each other. And the Ukrainians have already produced and showed that actually some of the missiles which they've taken or managed to sort of sort through have got no direct targeting facilities. They're operating optically and targeting optically, which means that they are the AI is collecting information and passing it amongst itself like a sort of a swarm of birds all together, and then they choose one or the other to go down and target it. And it's with that mesh technology, it's a group often that makes the choice of which drone will attack which target, not necessarily an operator, even sitting in Moscow or sitting in another part of Ukraine. So some of these drones are now rocket propelled. And so they've been very hard to shoot down. In fact, I doubt that many were shot